Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Welcome to the show at Rise Up Show with me, your host, the Queen Bee, Dani. How are you feeling? As we chat this morning to the devilishly handsome, the fabulously wonderful, the incredibly knowledgeable Mr. Fidel Hill, the modern man. Good morning. Jodie Soul, good morning. Babna Reddy, good morning. Elise Woodbine, good morning. The devilishly handsome Ian Dixon, good morning, sir.
Shut up, for f***'s sake. Jesus.
The fantastic Lizzie Jackson Barrett, good morning. Josephine Sandra, everybody, good morning. Good morning, welcome back. We've had a couple of days off, haven't we? Have we chuffed had a couple of days off? It's been bloody Be Inspired. So we haven't had a show, but we have had an event. Oh my goodness me. Right, stay with me, you lot, because I need to put my flipping makeup on. I've not given myself enough time, have I? I'm like, I'll put my bit of bronzer on my cheeks, make it look like I'm alive, because I'm not going to lie to you, I'm pretty bloody tired, as well you can imagine. Oh my goodness, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. It's been a life changer. What am I talking about? I am talking about, of course, Be Inspired. Good morning, welcome to Monday. Welcome to the last bit of April. It has been an incredible one. It has been a fantastic one. How has it been for you? The final week in April. How can that even be? How can that even be the case? It is absolutely crackers, isn't it? But Be Inspired is done. It is dusted, which means we are going to head on over in the Hive to Challenge Week for Be Heard So You Want to Be a Speaker. So that is going to be kicking off next week. Quite aware that it's running over the bank holiday. You can catch up on all of it. They're really easy tasks that we do over in the challenge, but it is amazing. So please do get amongst it. It is one of my favorite times in the IATQB Hive. So please do let me know if you are going to come and get amongst the challenge with us. If you go to imthequeenbee.co.uk/challenge, you can get yourself signed up, so I know that you're going to be there. If you're signed up, you will be in with a chance to win some prizes. So I will make prize announcements a little later on today, because that's not what I'm here to talk about this morning. I want to talk to you a little bit more about Be Inspired. So it was everything that I wanted it to be. Absolutely everything. Forgive me, by the way, I don't have my my sign up. Everything's still in the car, because I literally got back on Saturday, tried to do very little I got back on Saturday, and it was that kind of limping in at the finish line, kind of tired, like that kind of, everywhere, don't talk to me. I've run out of words. So by Friday night, Saturday morning, I just couldn't talk. There was just no words. I didn't have any words left. I'm glad I have my words back now, ready for the shows. We've got a glorious guest on this morning. We've got the fabulous. Maybe I have forgotten all the words still. We've got the gorgeous Sarah Pearson Wood joining us in just a couple of minutes' time. Just while I wait for you all to get on in here and give us a cuddle. Get in here, you lot, whilst I make myself look a bit more alive than I might feel in my heart right now. But yeah, I was absolutely exhausted by the time we got back. It was so high energy. It was interesting to be in the presence of people again, in a capacity that was just amazing. Be Inspired was an emotional roller coaster for you watching. Yeah, I mean, so you imagine we were in it, proper in it. It was a game changer for everyone involved, whether people were watching or whether people. Oh, my mucky makeup bag. You have to put it away for today. I'll make it look on pretty tomorrow. Look at this. We got a bee. I'm about to move the bee down a bit. The massive bee from the set is now going to form part of the official Show Up Rise Up show set. So I can have my flip chart here with the shit weather on. And what's the weather doing where you are, by the way? Do let me know. I can't put you on the shit weather map, of course. It's downstairs in the car. So yeah, I literally limped out of the car and just was like, don't make me do anything. Please don't make me speak to anybody. It was a lot. So I've not unpacked the car because then yesterday I was over at the old house stripping wallpaper. Everyone's going, oh, I hope you're resting today. I'm like, I'm not resting. I'm not resting at all. And then, of course, because for our ticket holders, if you are a ticket holder, and you can still be a ticket holder, by the way, if you've watched all of this and you've got a little bit of FOMO, and you're thinking, oh, do you know what? I really wish I'd have got my ticket to be inspired. You still can. So all of the recordings are now uploaded onto our members area. You can get Be Inspired on demand. So all you need to do is go to the ticket link on my bio, or if any of the affiliates are here, bang your link in here. Go and grab yourself access. All of the talks are uploaded. All of the bonuses are there. You can get access all areas to that, and it is still absolutely worth it. Like I thought, yeah, £89 plus VAT is definitely going to be worth it. We have knocked your socks off. So get on in there. Lost count of how many times I ugly cried. I cried about everything good or bad. I feel it and cry. It was so funny. It was so funny just how much emotion happened as part of Being Inspired. So like we get on the stage, go and deliver, they would go and deliver their talks, come on. I'm crying because I'm dead proud of everybody. You bear in mind, 98% of the speakers that were on there, I've trained. And it was emotional seeing them slay the dragons that they slayed, because it's not just about sharing your story and making everybody cry. It's about connecting value with you. Like, how do you put you right at the center of your business? Why does anybody give a shit about you in order for them to learn from you, right? So that's what we teach. That's what I train as part of Be Heard, which is my speaker program. And then, of course, Be Inspired, which is the mastermind that turns into the event. Everybody goes through an absolute roller coaster of emotions during that time. From the beginning, right from the first conversation that I have with someone about joining the course or the mastermind, all the way through the process, right to the event, and then after the event itself. You learn things about yourself all the time. It's all part of the process. It's so much more than speaking. So when these people get onto the stage, not only are they absolutely ready, so those of you that got tickets, it was slick as fuck. Like, of course it was, because everyone was really well prepared, everyone was really well trained, everyone was really well rehearsed. Everyone had their own process, and the venue was brilliant. It just went like this. It was fab. But being a coach to so many people that were on that stage, it was like an emotional overload for me. It's like seeing every single one of my kids get up on stage and absolutely smash it. I'm like, the whole thing. So yeah, I was absolutely shattered. But this week, sort of with the back of that, for our ticket holders, we've got some incredible discounts on my speaking packages, both on Be Inspired and Be Heard. And you can capitalise on that even if you get a ticket now. So if you get a ticket now, you will get a promo code for all of my speaking programs. So we're kicking off again on the 19th of May. We're going to have the challenge next week. We're going to open cart officially next week. But if anybody wants to know about it and wants to know how to get involved, get in my inbox. I am here all week for calls about this, because I know we've got 10 spaces on the Be Inspired Mastermind. However, if there are more of you that want to do it, I'm going to run 2 cohorts side by side. So you'll be in 2 separate groups of 10, and we will run an event very much in the same way as we did just gone, because it was an absolute roaring success. So if there are loads of you that really want to take part, there are payment plans, there are all sorts of stuff. I'm going to talk to you more about it over the course of the next couple of weeks. If you do want to know more, and you have had working with me on your vision board for a while, now's the time, because I only open the doors twice a year to this, because it's such a process. Like creating these events takes a lot. So I don't like to take on lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of clients at any one time. So I can make sure that I look after the clients that I do have. So yeah, it's been insane in the membrane. But amazing, equally amazing. Can you hear me all right? I just realised that my microphone is behind me. What are you doing, Daniela? So yeah, please do get in touch, drop in my inbox if you do want to know more. You can go to imthequeenbee.co.uk and then click on packages and then Be Heard and Be Inspired, both in there, so you can see what's involved. If it tickles your pickle and you want some money off, then get yourself a Be Inspired ticket. And there are some juicy bonuses. You can save up to £2,000 off of my packages. So just by having a ticket. So go and get yourself sorted out. Sort yourselves. Come and give us a little chat if you want a little chat. Get in my DMs. You know only too well to slide into my DMs for natters. But enough about that. It's been better. It's better. That's better. Sorry, by the way, Karen. It's not as echoey. That's because it was picking up the bouncing sound from behind me instead of actually directly into the microphone, because I'm an idiot. All right. Absolutely worth it. Shona, good morning. Shona, good morning. First time watching this. Discovered you by reading your book just before Be Inspired, which is amazing. Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Oh. I mean, I'm basking in love. It's hard. Like, it's so difficult. I'm going to talk to Sarah about this. Maybe she'll be able to help me. I've got the incredible Sarah Pearson joining me this morning as we talk about creating a legacy brand and all of the things that are involved in doing so. So please, welcome to the show, Rise Up Show, the very gorgeous Sarah Pearson Wood. Good morning. Oh, you're on mute.
That better?
There she is.
Not just you who's tired this morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for coming to hang out with me. I made up that you're here. Thank you, Sarah Pearson Wood, for joining us here on the show at Rise Up Show. Tell us about what you do.
Oh, gosh. Well, the fancy title is I'm a business transformation strategist. What that really means is I am a champion of female founders who want to build businesses around who they are, their identity and their personal purpose and what they love to do, because I really believe that your purpose can pay. And it's all about being in touch with and connecting with what you're called to be and do, your contribution here on the planet. And that doesn't not have to be successful. In fact, I believe it's the key, it's the core bit about success. You're a perfect example of that, Dani, about linking into something that you care about really passionately and then having that motivate you and be your mission moving forward to generate momentum and create success. So I see so many women trapped in businesses at the moment doing things the way that they think they should, or the way someone
should do it,
and the way that they've been told to do it, or without being disrespectful, you know, the six-figure gurus out there saying
no.
Do X, Y, and Z. And I really believe we've got to tap into who we are and do it the right way for us. And that takes some confidence and intuition and tapping into your identity. And that's what I'm about.
You are speaking my language, sister, because success, whatever success is so subjective.
Absolutely.
You have, like you say, 6-figure, 7-figure gurus that are going, hey, I can teach you how to do this in so many weeks, or I can, that's even the goal. And it's interesting because even though I've got a multiple six-figure business, that wasn't the goal. Yeah. It wasn't, it just happened. And it didn't just happen. I didn't just wake up in the morning and start shitting money. But it happened as a byproduct of doing the things that you said in the first instance, which was really sitting within my zone of genius and my joy space. Yeah. So that my version of success was having somewhere safe to live. My version of success is like having a car that doesn't break down every 2 minutes, or going into a restaurant and not just ordering a starter because it's the only thing that I can afford on the menu. And it's all of those things. It doesn't have to be what we are essentially sold. Like,
absolutely not. And look, I'm awful. So I'm a classically trained marketeer, worked in and out of businesses for almost 25 years. Son of an 18-year-old, mother of an 18-year-old son, don't know how that happened. But, in all that time, it's not about throwing out good business practice and marketing principles. So I'm still all about that. I'm not going to give you bad advice just based on the fact that you feel something.
Right.
But ultimately, it is about tapping into your identity. So all of this talk we often hear about, you know, find out what your ideal customer wants and make it all about them. But it's putting the cart before the horse, because actually you need to know what you're here for.
Yeah.
What are you called to do? What is the big message inside of you? Which is why I was so attracted to what you've been saying about the coaching you do about public speaking and getting people confident with their message, because you have to go on a real journey to find out who you are, your strengths, your joy, your passion. And then when you're clear about those things, then actually we can look at your contribution, your purpose. And it's when you take your passion and realize that that is destined to serve others, that's when it becomes purposeful. Right. And then that's when we've got something that can be, and some people think this is a crude word, but it can be monetized, because you can figure out then, is your purpose in the middle of your business, i.e. your skills, your talents, your zone of genius, or actually does it drive you to do the thing that you do in your business? And neither way is better than the other. It's all good, because I want to see women fulfilling their purpose, doing the thing that lights them up, that they're designed to do. You know, we are all designed in a certain way to be amazing at something, and we can all help others with that.
So it's funny, this issue, this sticking point we have around the monetization of our joy and genius space. Why do you think that is? Why do you think people go, oh, I'm really good at this thing, couldn't possibly charge for it?
Oh gosh, so many things. You know, those money blocks come up with basically how we were raised, you know, what we heard as little people, primarily up to about the age of 7. You know, the culture around us, was money freely given? Was it, did you have to save? Did you have to work hard? Did you only get things if you worked hard? All of those things imprint into how you approach making money in your business. If it felt shameful or hidden, if your parents never talked about money, it's likely you may find it difficult to talk about money.
It's interesting. I'm only finding this now. So there's quite a big age gap between my eldest is 13 and my youngest is 5.
Okay.
My eldest, if I think, you know, between the ages for her of 0 and 7, when they're sponges, like you say, when they're taking on their beliefs and values, because they absorb them from us. I remember, for the most part of those years of her life, being on my knees. Boy, I was homeless for a while of it. And her attitude to money is it's so different to Ivy's. If I look at Ivy, so Ivy's like a chief manifester in our house. She kind of goes around finding money. Like, life is a big treasure hunt for her. Like, she's like finding money. She puts money in little pots. She carries it around. But I like, ever since in the year or so after I had Ivy, that's when I was building IATQB. That's when I started to change my relationship with money. Started to change what I said to the kids around, if there was something that we couldn't afford, it was, in this moment, we're saving up for some other things. So it means that right now we're not going to get this, but we will get it as soon as we get the thing that we need right now. It was instead of we can't afford it. Yes. No, like mummy hasn't got any money. We haven't got the money to do that. Yet when Pop, and I feel a bit guilty and trying to unpick some of that now with Pops. Not that she finds it a massive issue, because we're trying to give like sort of that positive unpicking with it. But very, very interesting how my 5-year-old behaves around money and actively thinks about it and welcomes it in, and everything's like an exciting treasure hunt for money for her. It just around, you like picking up a penny. She's like, oh my goodness, I found a penny. It's amazing. As opposed to, and again, and I think it's my direct experience of me using the language that we had growing up around money. We don't have enough for it. We can't afford it. When we win the lottery, that's the other one. Yes. We'll do it when we win the lottery.
We did. Yeah.
Whereas now it's all of these, Mum, can we go to Disneyland? Yeah, absolutely. Let's put it on the vision board. Let's make that the intention. Let's make that happen, instead of when we win the lottery. And it makes me cringe when I hear people say it now, and we'll go when we win the lottery. How do we do this? How do we do this then? How do we start to create, because what I love about you and the work that you do is the finding of your purpose and then allowing that to transform and create your brand. How do we start to find our purpose, Sarah? That's a big question for a Monday morning.
Huge for a Monday morning, isn't it? And what I want to say is I have very rarely, I've met a couple of people who've had that come to Jesus moment, and it's there, and it's like a light bulb thunderbolt, and they know. For most people, my experience, and it's been my experience too, is that it's something that has evolved and that has come as you get to know yourself.
Right.
So I'm a big believer in looking for this golden thread. So I'm not a big believer in dwelling in your past, but there are certain moments where if you imagine yourself stood on a road right now and you turn around and you looked at what had gone behind you and you took the life lessons from that, the big things that have happened to you, the big milestones, it's likely that you will see what I call this golden thread that have been signposts towards what it is you're called to do, whether it be working with kids, whether it be singing, whether it be wanting to speak on stages or be a politician or whatever it is, there will be things. And so we go on a journey to connect with our identity. And I also firmly believe we're designed in a certain way. Now, that's not to put a religious spin on it. I don't mind what you believe in. I believe we all come from a source of love.
We welcome all conversations to the table here, however we look at it.
And the diversity of understanding each other's spirituality in this is really important, because we are all designed in a certain way. We have personality characteristics, and then that is shaped and nurtured by our lived experience. But there are things in me that I know I'm naturally gifted in that were there from when I was born. And Dani, it's the same with you. I hear you sing, and I know you've worked really hard to sing and nurture that, but it was there. It was in you. It's a gift. And so the more we get to know those things, I see it happening like, I'm going to really show my age here, but a Polaroid. Purpose develops and evolves like that. So you're constantly on this journey, and it's as you get to know yourself, and there's lots of work we can do around finding out about your strengths, your identity, your human design. I love doing the human design book about finding.
I had a reading. I had a human design reading. I am a generator. I'm a generator. And there's some numbers like a 6-4. I don't know what those things mean, but
they're all about the gates and how you're made up. Yeah.
Right. And apparently it was really, really interesting. My cousin got me this reading for my birthday. And so I had my reading done, and there was, maybe you can explain this if human design is your thing. There was this body chart with all of the energy spaces, and there was the head space and the heart space, and there was the solar plexus space, the sacral, all of this. And all of the sacral bit was really full. So that's where my intuition really sits. It sits right in my sacral. My head space is completely empty. And what I do is I fill it up with stuff, which people go, Dani, you're so clever, you're so intelligent. It's not that I'm clever or intelligent. I'm filling up my head space with stuff because it's empty.
So I'm training in human design at the moment because I'm fascinated in it, and I'm excited to bring it into kind of my coaching and what I do, because I just believe our identity is knowing who you are in that way is so powerful. Yeah, we all have leading parts of our design that basically put a lens on how we experience the world. And when you get to know how you respond and are and how you be in the world, actually enables you to interpret and act and perform and do all of these things in life in the way that gives you ease and flow, because that's what we want. We want to be in ease and flow. I want to see the women that work with me tapping into their genius, their ease and flow. And if they want 6 figures, that they get there without it being a struggle.
Right.
Hard work, but it shouldn't be a struggle. It should be aligned and akin and in tuned with who you are. So finding out if you're a head, a spleen, where your sacral authority sits, all of those things are so key. So for example, I'm a manifesting generator.
Yeah. So give me just 1 second, Sarah. There is a bunch of men shouting outside my door. Excuse me. Wallace. Bloody noisy buggers outside trying to do a show. Bugger off.
I've got workmen on the road across me, and I thought you were going to say all you could hear was the drilling on my road.
No, like directly outside my door. I think we've had like a plumber in to come and look at something this morning. We couldn't unplug. We've been in the new build, like little teeny bits and bobs. Anyway, we had give Ivy a bath last night, and we couldn't put the plug down again. So I think it's the construction people.
That's what you need.
At least we could bath her. It's all right. But yeah, the human design, like you say, the human design. I mean, it was a very, very new concept to me. I had not come across this before. I think one of my friend, Nicolene Hertzinger, had come across this, and I was like, "Oh, human design." And then my cousin did it, and then Abby Horn was having a look at it. Yeah, and we do like start talking about these things together. I love that you're training in it.
Yeah, because I just think the more you can't know yourself enough, can you? And when you're really in tune with yourself, then we give out of that overspill to our clients and those that we're here to serve. So I have this saying that your passion is not your purpose. But if you don't know your passion, you can't signpost towards your purpose. So let's use you as an example, Dani. I think you're a perfect example. I see you sing and I know it's a passion and it's God-given or love-given, sort, whatever you believe in.
Yeah.
But I also know your purpose is something bigger than your
bigger than me singing Build Me Up Buttercup on a Saturday night for people in a social club.
Your passion for the singing enables people to connect with you, and then you're able to signpost them and help them with your purpose. And if you hadn't got that passion, and if you didn't showcase it and you didn't allow people to come close to you on that passion, they would never connect with your purpose. And that's really powerful, isn't it? So often people will say to me, well, I know my passion and I can't monetize it, but you know, I'll just follow it and I'll do it as a nice thing to do. And it's like, whoa. That's the wrong way around for me, because passion is something that's for you.
Yeah.
Purpose is something that's for those that you serve, and your passion enables you to serve.
And that's very interesting as well, because when it came to singing, even though I would say I'm a good singer, I'm not the best singer in the world. I'm not Mariah Carey or anything like that. But I'm a good singer. But there was always a glass ceiling on my earnings. It was always like it would get so far. Whereas with my purpose-led stuff, actually, it's become limitless.
Absolutely.
So the possibilities are so varied. The possibilities are so wide. And don't get me wrong, like the singing it's almost like the icing on the cake. The fact that I get to throw that in with being on stage and presenting and teaching as well is like the icing on the cake. But when I was only following my passion, which was to sing, there was I struggled with glass ceilings. I struggled with the money side of things. But when I was purpose driven, all of a sudden everything melted away and the possibilities became absolutely endless. And I find that I never thought about it that way before, Sarah. So
and I see this time and time again with women who've started businesses who believe they followed their passion, and they get a couple of years in and then suddenly it's very hard work, or they hit the glass ceiling on what they're earning. They just feel massively disconnected. And it's because passion, you have to put passion in the right place in the business.
Right.
Purpose is something, like you said, you use the words beautifully, it's limitless because it evolves. Where your passion for singing is going to be your passion for singing. It's one part of you, Dani. It's not all of you. Your purpose demands that you rise to greatness and bring all of you.
I am here for Sarah Pearson Wood this morning. She's taking us to church. I'm here for it. What a way to hit up a Monday. So how do we differentiate the two? How do we go, okay, so how do I know that my passion isn't my purpose? How do I know that that isn't the case? What's the difference between the two? And how do we evolve one over the other? Or even, say, for example, your passion's cake making, right? Yeah. And you make great cakes, and you have a business whereby you make great cakes. Yeah. Where does the turn happen Because like if you're just selling cakes all the time, you can only make so many cakes at so much time. Where do you go then? Or if you do crafting, or
there is always a layer deeper, Dani. So
right.
so it's very much linked to the Simon Sinek, the why work.
I
But
love Simon Sinek.
when you dig into the why work for me, it's still very internal. It's still about you. It's if you think about, you've heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
It's still operating at that, are my needs being met? And how do you self-actualize all the way through to reaching self-actualization?
Right.
But the purpose bit sits at that very top end. So when I'm working with someone, the question, and I drive my clients mad in the first couple of weeks, because the question out of my mouth all the time is, why is that important?
Why do you give a shit?
Basically. But it's also deeper than that, because when they get sick of the why is that important, it's so what's the impact of that? So when you're making those cakes, why do you make cake? Why is that important? And you get an answer. And you ask the question again, why is that important? And you keep asking that question. And normally what comes out eventually is the higher purpose bit that we can then explore. Because often, and I'm not saying this is any cake makers listening, I'm not putting you in a box. But what I want to say to you is, normally there is something about the way you express love, perhaps to do with how you feed people.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. So there will be a reason. So, for example, I've worked with a lady in a food industry who actually her purpose was about feeding small kids. Her talent, her zone of genius was cooking and cakes. But actually what she wanted to do was feed homeless kids. So when you can actually start talking about that story about why you do what you do, but it's much more than I want money in my bank account and I want a roof over my family's head. The real, what you connect to source, what is it you're designed here to do? Who are you supposed to love on, contribute and serve? And we put that in the business. We get so much clarity. We strip away the, should I be doing this? Is this a good idea for me? Because all of that's just tactics. The question is, am I serving my purpose? And am I serving the people that I am supposed to reach with my purpose? So when you're making those cakes, what do you do? How do you take that purpose, making those cakes, beautiful cakes, let's say wedding cakes, but what do you do with the money and the value and the actions attached to that success? Because maybe your purpose actually is to set up a feeding scheme in your local community, or to support hungry children in Africa, or whatever it is. And the cake, the actual physically making the cakes, is the means to the end to fulfill the purpose. So the passion of making the cake, fulfilling the purpose of what you're called to do.
Yeah, it's amazing when you start to drill things down. Catherine Byam was talking at Be Inspired, and she was talking about decent work. Can you do decent work? And when we talk about decent in terms of like the word decency, working within integrity, working within your purpose, within that kind of giving back and thinking about someone other than yourself within your business. And this is, it just sits beautifully with what we're saying here. So she was talking about brands like Oatly, who they're selling oat milk, which is great, but they're selling oat milk because the bigger purpose is the treatment of dairy cows in dairy farms isn't good. It's not good. It's in fact, it's barbaric in a lot of instances. So by having Oatly there with this mission sat underneath it, all of a sudden it becomes a movement. And there was another one with the bamboo bum rolls. I can't remember what they're called. But the bamboo bum rolls are the same thing about that, that recycling, using something that, we can grow quickly and use quickly and still recycle, and having that as a purpose. And when we start to think about our work like that, it suddenly becomes much bigger than ourselves. I talk about this with regards to, when you're actually thinking about articulating your message, instead of just going, hey, I sell a thing, you want to be sat on a steed going into battle with people behind you.
Yeah, I want Boadiceas.
Yes!
It's like, I know why I'm here. And do you know why it's powerful, Dani? Because when we're at times like this in recession and panic, I'm going to say it's recession proof. I don't mean that you're not going to have a hard time. We all have to deal with the economy, but you become unswervable in your objective to hit that purpose. And that can guide you, because actually when you strip everything else away, all the tactics and all the things that you think you should be doing, actually, am I, in what I'm doing in my business, am I serving that purpose? Am I getting a step closer to it? And if you're not, why the heck are you doing it?
Yes. Absolutely. And there's so much fear that's involved in making this leap as well, because when, you know, we are very much as a society trained for the most part to go into employment.
Yeah.
Even within our, you know, even within our skilled employment community, like if you want to be an accountant, then you've got to go work for an accountancy firm, solicitor for a solicitor's firm, etc., etc. When we start to look at building our own businesses, there's a little bit of fear that comes around that, because at school, you know, we go reception, primary school, we go high school, sixth form, college, university, and then work. So when we're in employment, and this is why we get a lot of us feeling some kind of way on a Sunday night, or even some kind of way on a Friday evening as you're leaving work, like already dreading the Monday. And it is because a lot of us aren't sat, because we've not uncovered it. And I know that's the work that you help people do. We've not uncovered it, or we've uncovered it and we don't know how to then make that happen. So then we're sat at odds with ourselves.
Yeah, I believe that certainly the method that's worked for me and my clients is something called the 5 A's, which is to alchemize. So we take your purpose, your story, your untold story, because what I find is in the transformational space, it's always the thing that you've, not always, 95% of the time, it is the thing that you've overcome that is where your purpose is, because your overcoming story is normally where you want to help people. So when I look at my own story, you know, horrendous divorce, bankrupt, financially ruined, and I knew that that was the catalyst to, I don't want other women to feel this. When you see capable, strong, talented women tied to a job or tied to a man or tied to a situation that they can't escape, that for me was a powerful catalyst on all the work I'd done in years in business and with young women, youth groups, training programs. It's like, wow, there it is, bang. So for me, the alchemizing bit of finding yourself and your story is really important, because that's the road to your purpose. But then it's about learning how to align that story with your brand values, your mission, your vision, everything you just talked about with Oakley. You know, it's that, because you can feel vision, you can connect with mission.
Yeah.
And then it's all about how to activate. So getting a business model that works with your purpose, how to be abundant, and then how to amplify, because you can't do any of those things if you've not learned to be really comfortable with yourself. So we all talk about visibility, don't we? And you are the master at teaching people how to get visible with their personal voice and story. But, you know, you have to work on your money blocks and your confidence and be really clear about what you're called to. And then you can dial up the volume. You can get really loud and amplify with the right strategy based on the purpose about what is right for you, that's out of your intuition. To me, that's the best business model you could ever put in place, because all the other stuff, the collecting of, you know, is it Facebook ads, or is it a Facebook group, or am I on Instagram? That's just tactics.
Yeah.
We can put any tactics, but we need the purpose. We need to know who you are.
And it's that ability, or that realization that when we amplify, it doesn't really matter where we hang out. So because all of a sudden we start to radiate it and we start to be magnetic about it. So, you know, depending on who you go to, it's like in the medical profession. We've said this before, that if you go to see a surgeon, they'll want to cut you open. If you go to a pharmacist, they want to give you drugs. If you go to an endocrinologist, they want to look at your hormones. So you'll go to different coaches and they'll tell you these are the right ways to do things. You've got to find the right way for you. And as long as you are allowing yourself to show up in the space that you feel most comfortable with. And yes, there is a degree of keeping your eyes just on the horizon. Otherwise, of course, you've got to kind of future-proof yourself. But like everybody went over to Clubhouse in January. Clubhouse was like, everyone went over. You've got to go to Clubhouse. It has to be where you are. I went on it for a few weeks and I loved it. But the amount of dick swinging that was going on over there, I was like, I'll just hang on for a little bit. Yeah, I've got my little thing going on over here, and no one's, things are still building, things are still growing, and it makes sense. And we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to like jump on to the next big thing, which is cool. But if you like hanging out on Facebook, then go hang out on Facebook. If Instagram's your jam, go get your people on Instagram and make that your jam, or LinkedIn, the same with LinkedIn. Well, there's a lot of pressure on us, isn't there? Like we've got to have a Facebook group, or we've got to do this, or we've got to do that.
Huge. And I think I'm going to sound contradictory here, because I am so pro women stepping into businesses and owning a container that feels like them. But I'm really not pro this online coaching business world that has brought with it this feeling of having to be a certain way, look a certain way, do things a certain way, follow a certain model. And I'm going to put my head above the parapet here a bit and say some of it is just crap advice.
It's just bullshit as well.
Coaches training coaches to sell what effectively almost becomes like a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
There's no integrity in that for me, and it breaks my heart. So I came from a very traditional, commercial marketing background, did some coaching and started selling business coaching a couple of years ago, because to me it was you've been a consultant and you'll do that. And then I realized the people coming towards me had been sold up the river. And it's like, what is missing here? Well, there's no soul. There's no spirit of who the people are in what they're trying to do. They know they're called to something bigger, but they put a sticking plaster on it because someone said, well, you need to have X, Y, and Z first before, or it needs to be this many followers before you can be successful.
That's bollocks in itself. Like, for any of you that are listening out there, everything that you see, I started out with about 300 people in. And even now, my audience is not considered big. I've got 3,500 people on Facebook, 3,500 people on here. They're probably the same people. They're very, very little differentiation between the two. There's still only 900 people on my email list. Yes, it's great to build an audience, but it's better to be magnetic for the people who are absolutely digging your vibe and the things that you're selling and the things that you believe in. It's better to be small but perfectly formed and organically grow than it is to think that, you've got to have money to start in this. Perfect example. You don't necessarily need to. You can start with incremental investments and then work up to working with people.
And the thing that makes you magnetic, yes, your messaging, but how do you find your messaging? You dig into who you are and you connect with your life story and what it is you're called and designed to be, so that you can then, I always call it cracking your heart. You just can open your chest and let people get a sense of that. And people are either for you or they're not. I know I'm not for everyone. Dani, I'm sure people who, I'm sure you polarize.
I am A-okay with it.
Absolutely, me too, because I only want to work with the people who light my world up as well. That, because the kind of work I do and the way I approach it is, if I'm in your business for a period of time, then I'm in it. I care about it and love it like it's my own. It's an emotional roller coaster. We live, we breathe it. And it's like, I so resonated what you were saying about the people you'd coached over this and watching them over the last couple of days. When my clients are having babies and successes and wins and all those things, it's like it's happening for me.
Yeah, it's like it's happening to your family, and it's like your sister going through it, and you're just with them, cheering them on, like being this like bit of life transformation midwife for this particular bit of their journey.
but that doesn't work for everyone. You know, for some people that would be too much. It would be over the top. It would be cloying. But I firmly believe we go on a journey to birth something together. And that's part of where my purpose is, because I know I'm a great cheerleader. I know what I'm here for.
Yeah.
And that's where I want to see many more women getting to that place where they're unapologetically, I'm here for this. This is what I do. This is who I am. And that it makes success for them on their terms. I don't care whether it's 6 figures, 1 million, if it's $2,000 a month, whatever, as long as it feels good and right for you and feeds your family and does all the things, whilst we build your platform to enable you to go and reach the people you are here to reach. And if that's one person on a Friday night, or it's 10 people, or it's 1,000 people, it's irrelevant, because the impact on one person is just as significant, if that's where you're called to work.
Absolutely. Sarah, I'm interested because we've not covered this. How did you come to this work? Where did you start? Have you always worked for yourself? What was your journey to doing the work, the phenomenal work that you do now?
So I originally, I did all the things we talked about, that kind of, you know, work hard at school, go to uni. And I originally trained in journalism and English. And part of my story is that I wanted to be on TV initially. I was living in South Africa, and my journalism coach told me that I would never make it in TV because my voice was too soft.
Don't be daft.
Yeah.
Get out.
But at 17, 18 or whatever, I really I must have heard that at some level.
Goes to a place, yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, I stepped out of that. Well, I didn't jump into it. I went into marketing, PR, comms, and really was good at it and loved it, and realized I liked the commercial side. So worked in businesses for a long time. And then had my son 18 years ago and got very ill, and realized that, gosh, one income stream and being ill and working for people is difficult. And that really sowed the seed of, working for yourself, how's that going to work? And dabbled with consultancy. And then about 8-9 years after that, had a horrendous divorce, kind of a life-changing situation with ex-husbands doing all sorts of different things. Life just was obliterated. So what looked like a very successful life from the outside just imploded. It was me, a kid under my arm, and a suitcase, and nowhere to live, and £100,000 worth of debt. That I hear you. And that really gave me a wake-up call of, what are you doing, woman? And you do what you have to do. I worked in the NHS. I went and I was a secretary. I did everything and anything I could to put, feeders.
You get through. Yeah, you get through.
Yeah, but as I came through that, what that awakened in me was this sense of, you're called to something bigger. It involves women. You've got these key skills. How do you help people? So I took all of that marketing experience, and I was working in parallel and earning money. And then I slowly took this journey back into consultancy and realized that actually what I wanted to do was help other women on that journey. So jumped into some coaching qualifications, and I've been doing this the last few years. It's the journey, and it's important. I think lockdown was the next progression for me, because I was as we hit lockdown, I was doing really well. So 6 figures was happening nicely, but it just felt really empty, Dani, to be honest. I was feeling the pressure of what was happening on social media, and I took some time out. And one of the things my clients had always said to me was, it's not just the business stuff. You see into my soul and you help me move forward. And I was like, oh, this is really interesting, because I don't talk about this. And that was my catalyst for kind of like, do you know what? I'm going to take all of this work, and we're going to start talking about it's okay to be unsure and fabulous and flawsome, as long as it's coming from who you are and what you're called to be. and let's dispel those myths, and let's get out there and build the businesses and the vehicles and the containers and whatever you want to call it that serves you, because then you can serve everyone else with what you're called to do, or the people you're supposed to serve. And that's been the journey, and here we are, and I love it. And it's just changed. I don't say changed my life glibly. It absolutely has changed my perspective, value, all of those things.
And when you experience that, you can't help but want to say to other people and almost shake them and say, look, like there are ways to make your life incredible. Like what? Like, look, I'm going to show you. I'm going to link arms with you. I'm going to festoon with you. I'm going to lift you. Like it just becomes, that's what happens. Like you end up like flying out of bed in the morning, because that's the bit. It's the click in the lock, and you realize you open the door, you go, oh right, okay. Everybody needs to know about this quick. Like you all need to know.
Do you know what? I love seeing Chem alive in anyone, but certainly women who have come from a background where they've not necessarily believed they could, is you suddenly go from having a why to being the why.
Yeah.
And that shift is so powerful, because then you do want to jump out of bed, because you know, actually, I'm not just showing up because I'm making money. I'm showing up because if I don't use my voice today, someone who needs to hear it is not going to hear it. Right. And what is that impact on them? Yeah, sure. And that's between the passion and the purpose. So if you think back, I don't know, when you were a teenager, there will be something you were really passionate about that you no longer have or do, that you're not passionate about now. And so passion can wane.
Yeah.
Whereas purpose, when you know it's connected to others, boom, there it is, because you get up and you serve.
It's interesting. I remember working in, when I was working in corporate, and I was really lucky. I got trained by some fantastic people within the training space. I worked in the HR facility, I was in L&D, and they was really great, particularly when I worked with Carphone Warehouse, investing in their talent, you know, so that they, you know, I went through their talent management program. There was lots of brilliant training and learning I could access. And as part of me training to train, so like my very firm must have been early 20s, my first kind of train the trainer situation. We were talking about pitching, and we were talking like one of the things that a lot of people say, because it feels good or it sounds good in inverted commas, is I'm really passionate about. And like you say, I don't really, for me, passion suggests like a firework that it'll go off and then it will go away again, or for me, passion doesn't sound stable. Like if you're passionate about something, sometimes, like if you think about with a lover, if you're passionate about those, sometimes it's irrational, like the thoughts that you get about them, like in the middle of the day, they're irrational thoughts you're having in the middle of the day. You can't stop what you're doing to go and do what you want to do. With like these, like when you are in a like that passion situation, it is like it is that unstable type of thing, and that really got me thinking at the time, because I was like, oh, I'm really passionate about helping people train, I'm passionate about sales. I'm like, am I even? For the first question. Secondly, when I started to understand what that meant, that really made a shift and a change in what I wanted to do within my work. And that what you say there about passion versus purpose is a really, really interesting one. Sarah, we're running out of time today, but I would really love to know, because I mean, I've loved speaking to you. What a way to hit up a Monday morning, you guys. Like, I know you're really enjoying it out there watching at home. How do we hang out more with you? How do we find out more about you?
Well, all the typical places, websites, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, but I would love to let you know that I've just launched a new podcast last week. I know, I'm sorry. Seriously, I talk about something you care about. I procrastinated about this podcast for about 8 months, and then I had to practice what I preach and just get out there and do it. It's called The Purpose. We've released
Could you just repeat what it's called again?
Yes.
Just because
it's called The Purpose Lab, like laboratory. Purpose Lab. We came crashing through the charts at number 32 in the entrepreneurial space last week. I chuffed a bit with that, not because of the vanity metric, just because for me it was important to get the message out there, and to see people picking it up and it beginning to help is just amazing. So yeah, that's my baby at the moment. So I would love people to tune in. I would love people to come on the show. Dani, I would love you to come and do
Get me on it. Yes, I'm here for it. I just want to speak to you again.
Oh, we could just really dig into this purpose, passion conversation, couldn't we? And yeah, and so I do one-on-one coaching and some group work. There's a small group program launching in May, which is all about how to find your passion. But yeah, tune in and subscribe to the podcast and come and join the conversation.
Amazing. Will you share the links to that in the comments, Sarah? Is that all right?
Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us. I have loved speaking to you. I've had a great time this morning. I'm here for the passion and the purpose on a Monday morning.
Energy's high again. You can be tired, but energy can be high. So
that's it. Like I probably couldn't sleep now. I'm too excited about this week ahead. But thank you for kicking off my Monday in the most perfect of ways. And thank you for joining me on the show. Sarah Pearson Wood, everybody. And the crowd go wild. What a cracking conversation to start the week off. Like, I'm feeling it. Is anybody else? Let me know in the comments how you're doing. What a cracking show to kick off this morning. Don't miss tomorrow's show, because tomorrow at 9:30, I am joined by my I want to say Bolton. Is he in Bolton? I think he's in Bolton. By my Bolton brother, the incredible Chris Dawes from web development company Scruffy Monkey. He is a force to be reckoned with and a phenomenal human being. And I cannot wait to have a good old catch up and a chin wag with him tomorrow. So really, really excited about being joined by my homie, Chris Dawes from Scruffy Monkey tomorrow. Please do join us at 9:30 for more showing up, wising up and rising up. If you have not got your Be Inspired on-demand ticket, make sure that you do. For those of you, Chris Dawes, yes, Simon, Chris is amazing. He definitely knows his stuff. I'm really excited about talking to him, not just about Scruffy Monkey, but about his motivational speaking career, which is lifting off as we speak. So thank you for joining us, everybody, this morning. Go and get your Be Inspired access on demand. You can get that from any one of our speakers in the links. You can get it in the IATQB Hive, or you can go to @the Queen Bee Dani on Instagram. It's the link in the bio. Also, if you do have an access ticket to Be Inspired, that entitles you to all kinds of money off my Be Inspired and Be Heard programs, up to £2,000 for Be Inspired just by having a ticket. Right, you lot, have an incredible day. Happy Monday. I love you. Anyone wants to chat to me about Be Heard or Be Inspired, get in my inbox. We can have a natter about it. I'm about all day, and I will see you tomorrow at 9:30 for more showing up, wising up and rising up.